What's up, you guys? Someone recently asked me about how I would come up with a valuation for a FedEx route business that was being sold. And the way I think about valuation actually is applicable to any type of business, but it's especially applicable to FedEx routes. And so let me give you a very simple framework that I use that I think will be extremely helpful for you. So I always try to boil things down into simple frameworks that are both fast and effective. And the way I think about valuation really boils down into two components. The first component is what it is worth to someone else. What can you sell this thing for? So for example, you could have all of the qualified business valuation experts, pay them whatever price they want to come up with a perfect valuation, use the complicated formulas and try to figure these things out. Oh, we're going to use discounted cash flow. No, we're going to use multiples of EBITDA. That's the secret valuation. They could come up with all these ideas, and if it does not match the market for that particular type of business, it does not matter. Because if they could come up with it and say, hey, it's worth $1 million. Well, if nobody else thinks it's worth $1 million, then it's not worth $1 million. It's like the idea, oh, Bitcoin is worth $1 billion. I got the formulas to prove it. Doesn't matter. No one's paying that. What something is worth is what you can sell it for. So therefore, the simple way to look at this is to look at the market of buyers for that particular type of business. In this case, FedEx route buyers. So what do FedEx buyers do? Well, they're going to post online to random forums. They're going to get random opinions from people that they're not sure of their qualifications. They're going to end up asking the broker what they think that it's worth. They're going to try to Google some things and get some free content. I guess technically this is free content too. But the point is that they will start to look at these things. And when they do, they'll start to think that these are like commodities. They're all the same. Oh, they all work on margins. Oh, they've all got a manager in place. They're all semi-absentee, and all their fleets, they kind of suck, right? So they see these things as the same. Well, whenever you see something as the same, it becomes commoditized. Well, the way you value a commodity is you use comps. Well, what are all these routes for sale across America selling for? And then they go to BizQuest, they go to BizBuySell, and they look at what they're selling for elsewhere. What are other people selling these things for? Hey, it looks like right now, maybe they're selling for 4 times the net income. So they'll say, oh, well, there we go. There's our valuation. It's worth what I can sell it for. And in this case, it's 4 times the net income. Now, the cool thing about evaluating these things correctly and deeply is that you will start to be able to see where there is good value and bad value in regards to these valuations, because all these things are coming out at a 4x multiple. But in reality, some of these things are actually a really good deal. They're extremely high value, even at a 4x multiple. And another one that could be selling at a 4x multiple is actually overpriced. Why is it overpriced? Because all hell is breaking loose. The contract won't renew. These are simple things that I can sort of explain through quickly. But the point is that there are things that separate these routes out. Because if you don't start to see things in this simple way, you will get pulled into this idea that there is some secret valuation formula that only this person knows, and they want to charge you $10,000 to get a qualified business valuation. It doesn't matter if that valuation comes up as X when the entire market is paying Y, because the market is what you could sell it for, and no one else is paying this guy $10,000 for his business valuation or whatever. So there are no secrets when it comes to valuation. It's wide open because nobody else is using secrets in this particular industry. Now, it might be very different if you are selling, Ask Jeeves to yahoo.com like back in the day. Like, they're going to use different valuation metrics. You have to jump through those hoops because everybody's using that strategy. In the FedEx world, most people are just feeling like they are commoditized and they're just using comps. So the second part of valuation is trying to figure out what it is worth to you. Now, this is actually the part that is difficult. And a lot of times people only focus on what it is worth to someone else. And they will even send me deals. They'll say, hey, Tony, this guy's selling at 4 times the net income. Is that too much? Is this a good deal? That's not the way you want to play this game, because that's the way everyone else is looking at this business. Now, granted, what you could sell it for is what it's worth, right? So let's say it's a 4x multiple, that's fine. But let's say it's actually worth 0 to that person because he thought that this thing was completely absentee. He doesn't even live in the same country, and this would be a disaster for him. Well, it's actually worth 0 to him. It's not worth 4x, even though that's what the market says it is. It's worth 0. It's the same thing for any business. Let's say you were looking at a crime scene cleanup business and you said, gosh, I don't want to be in a crime scene cleaning up this stuff. That sounds disgusting. I don't want to do this. This business is worth Zero, even though crime scene cleanups sell for a particular multiple. And so it does not matter what other people are willing to pay if the business is not right for you. Same thing for if you were looking at a vape shop. Let's say the vape shop makes $100,000 a year and there was only one other person that could potentially buy it. And that other person thinks the books are cooked. They think that vapes are a fad. The government's going to shut them down. They don't want anything to do with it. Well, if you buy that business and run it and make $100,000 for 10 years, that thing was worth something to you, even though whenever you try to turn around and sell it, there's no selling because the guy doesn't want to pay anything. He wants to pay $0. So there's no exit in that, but it was still worth something to you. So you have to look at both sides of that equation to figure out what this business is worth to you and then what it is worth to someone else. That's all it boils down to. So don't get bogged down in the ideas that you've got to figure out these magic secret formulas or whatever. That's not the way that the FedEx game is played, because everyone out there thinks that they're commodities. They will use comps. Now, it does start to become more complicated when you are looking at this business, trying to figure out what your day in the life of this business will look like, whether or not it has the scalability you're looking for, or whether it's got too much risk for what you're willing to take on. All these things take some time, but they can all be figured out. So anyway, the point is, don't get bogged down in complicated formulas on what valuation is. It boils down to what you're willing to pay for it and what you can sell it for. And a combination of both of those things will help you start to be able to figure this out without making it overly complicated. So anyway, if you got any questions, drop them below, like, subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.